we'll get the clerk back in here and get fired up here directly. I apologize to everybody. Sometimes our meetings are not so exciting and eventful. This would not be one of those times this day, so we'll get through it.
We are online.
Okay.
Alex, leave that door open. Thanks.
Are we live?
Alright.
Okay, we need a motion to come out of executive session at 9:09 where no action was taken.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we come out of executive session at 9:09. No action was taken during the executive session.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? You can choose whoever you want. Roll call, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Lonsberg.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Holgren.
Yes.
Stonemeyer.
Yes. And at this time, because of the executive session we took, we need to take a brief recess for 5 minutes. And we will come back into session at 9:15 and resume our agenda.
We are staying online during the recess.
Alright, Dandy. My mouth is so dry today. What is going on? Maybe all the wind yesterday, I've got so much dirt.
I know. Kelly, that meeting's at 9:30 today?
1:30.
How long will it be?
I hope like 3 minutes, I don't know.
Okay, good. I have a chamber exec board meeting from 1 to 3, but I'll just try to slip down here, I suppose.
And then
Where are we meeting at? In here?
here, yep.
Okay.
And I won't have all the papers, because I have to wait for the treasurers to do some things, but I do have.
It's the same one.
Like the fight and all that.
Yep,
all that
yep,
kind of stuff.
all
Okay.
that.
Will they talk about?
I think that's pretty much what it is,
Okay.
the deadlines.
Okay.
And all those deadlines are on that paper.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah. you're not-
Maybe either I'll have someone swing down or I'll
Yeah,
swing down.
or you can, before you leave, I have one on my desk, and have someone just stop pick it up then.
Okay.
But I just don't have the papers, like your budget papers. like
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
have time.
Maybe I'll just grab that a bit one of
Okay.
these, so I don't have to leave my
yeah,
meeting.
and then I'll just let them know
Okay.
in another meeting, so.
Perfect.
No
All
problem.
right, thanks.
I wanted to be here for that.
Yeah.
So then I will, so yes, I was gonna stick around and see what we can do.
Nope.
That lady that's in the
Well, that's
Oh, that's, I'll get it.
Well, no,
Aaron also because Aaron came out here with Pam that time.
Oh, no, I don't know.
So I won't be able to disregard it.
That's right, I'll figure it out. I'll get
Well,
someone to have it. Right now.
Yeah, he tried. I'm not sure. I thought he was roll for the I'm not sure.
That's all right, I'll figure it later.
Now,
Let it go away. When we get slow rain, the slow rain just softens it.
Yeah. But the easy thing is straight out. Right. It's so hard not to get that snow, good gravel picked up and stuff.
Get back home and go to any cemetery viewing, or will you busy down here this weekend?
Work.
I bet it's a popular weekend between, like, I know my folks had an alumni basketball in New York here.
Weddings, alumni banquets, party.
Well, gotta have an extra weekend maybe to have a wedding, you know, you do one on a Sunday.
Consensus of
They got a lot.
That's good though.
I'm just a cop. Uh-huh.
Are your boys on the pickleball now?
What's that?
Are your boys on the pickleball yet?
No, they got a few years now.
So we just have Molly. Does she play
Softball,
softball?
yeah. No, they're only 4 and 3, so they'll both be increasing next year.
That's it. Stella's playing 800 softball. They travel. I'm like, really? Where this year?
Like, how far do they travel?
Oh, we went to Fairbury. Yeah, I'm like, really? But there's a couple Fairbury teams. You would think they've been playing together for years. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
But it's exciting.
And then you put gravel.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah. Right. And it also makes sense.
You're Kurt. I don't think I saw your daughter sign up yet.
Four.
4-H, summer workshops.
There she is.
Oh,
She's
she
gonna do
is?
this cornhole
Oh, she is?
one.
Oh,
She's gonna do the
good.
Leslie Clay jewelry.
Never mind,
She
really?
wanted to weld, but she's not old enough.
You have a thing with dates on it already?
Uh-huh,
Can I have one?
sure.
I have a reporter this summer.
Yes, oh, yes, there you
So
go.
excited.
Oh, really? I'm just kidding, I never looked, but that's funny. She signed up already? Oh, that's
Yeah,
good,
already
cool.
signed up.
Cornhole's gonna be fun.
That's,
Yeah, she's still looking forward to
I
that.
wanted my kid to do it, but I have vacation Bible school.
Well, she does 2 next week, so she's missing that for that. But yeah, she's getting antsy about getting the fabric. Gotta make sure she's getting.
Oh, for the beanbags?
Yeah, she wants
Yes.
to go today.
Good
She wanted to
job.
go yesterday.
Yeah, good job. Well, that's good.
See, I'm trying to stay on top of it this year.
Way to go.
You guys got some good ones this year. Workshops.
We do, thank you. Yes, that's all Amanda. I have nothing to do with it, except for promote it.
Back on. Okay, we'll come back from our recess, and the next matter that the York County Board of Commissioners will take up is discuss and act on the potential termination of the York County Attorney. I would like to read a statement into first, and the statement is, prior to the vote relating to Mr. Lyons' continued appointment as York County Attorney, we want to outline some of the past history of events that led us to today. On August 25th, 2021, a hearing notice was issued to Mr. Lyons relating to the potential termination of his employment. While the hearing was initially set for September 7th, 2021 at 11 a.m., it was postponed by the agreement of the parties until September 15th, 2021 at 11 a.m. Mr. Lyons requested that the September 15th, 2021 hearing be held in open session, and the board planned to offer Mr. Lyons the opportunity to respond to the allegations against him, which Mr. Lyons knew. However, at approximately 10 a.m. on September 15th, Mr. Lyons' attorney contacted the attorneys for the board and informed them for the first time that Mr. Lyons did not plan to participate in the hearing. Rather, the attorney asked his letter be considered Mr. Lyons' submission in regard to the hearing. The board considered the letter submitted together with other information and evidence it had gathered. However, a vote on that matter was not held until September 15th. Rather, given the seriousness of the matter, the board intended to consider and review the information presented by Mr. Lyons and hold its vote at a later meeting of the board on September 21st, 2021, at which all members would be able to be physically present. As set forth more fully in the hearing notice, Mr. Lyons had been informed for months that he may be terminated from his job as county attorney for York County for the reasons set forth in that notice. Generally speaking, those reasons included that Mr. Lyons signed a contract with Clay County to serve as interim county attorney for at least 6 months, but renewable at 12-month intervals. The Clay County contract was signed by Mr. Lyons on July 28, 2021, the day after the York County Board of Commissioners unanimously declined to allow Mr. Lyons to devote less than his full time to the legal work of York County. Mr. Lyons' actions in entering the Clay County contract appeared to have violated his agreement with York County to serve as its county attorney. Specifically, prior to Mr. Lyons' appointment to the position of York County attorney on December 31st, 2019. The board made clear to Mr. Lyons that he would be required to devote his full time to the legal work of York County, and he acknowledged that he understood the expectation prior to being appointed to York County attorney. This agreement was in accordance with Resolution 1745, which was passed by the board on December 5th, 2017, which set the salaries of elected officials for 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, and also stated that the board required the county attorney position to remain a full-time position with no private practice allowed except as authorized by the Board of Commissioners. Resolution 1745 was passed in accordance with the Nebraska Revised Statute, Section 23-1206.01, which specifically allows counties such as York County to adopt a resolution specifying that the county attorney should devote his or her full time to the legal work of the county and not engage in private practice of law directly or indirectly. Prior to the vote taking place, John Lyons obtained an injunction stopping the vote scheduled for September 2021. However, on Friday, May 27th, 2022, the United States Federal Court vacated that injunction and also dismissed all of Mr. Lyons' claims against the board. As such, we are now ready to move forward on a vote to terminate Mr. Lyons' employment effective immediately. It's a statement that I've read into it. As the notice said, we already had the Lauderdale hearing. Mr. Lyons had his opportunity to talk to us then. He presented a letter. So at this time, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we terminate the employment of John Lyons as York County Attorney effective immediately.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second?
Thank you, Daniel. Is there any other discussion on this matter? I would point out that we have reached out while we took a short recess. We know that as Judge Stecker was in front of us this morning, that there is a busy calendar, and Seward County was contacted, and they're willing to step in and help out with whatever we need them to do in the short term. And so it's not like we're just leaving it completely blank, but I think we all feel the same way on this matter. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Fulgren,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Fonsberg,
Yes.
Gross, or Sykes,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes, motion carries. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I excuse myself for a second.
thank you, Daniel. Okay. As you can about imagine, the last weekend was not easy for some of us in the room. Couple sleepless nights. I assume that going forward, there may be one or two more sleepless nights, but I truly believe what we have done is right for York County and what we put up with. Okay, we're going to go back to the top of the agenda now. I apologize for everything. Do we have any officials left? Did any of them ride the storm out with us? We've got Harvey.
Good morning, everyone. Don't have much to report. Mother Nature has not worked well with us for trying to finish up our crack sealing on Road 4. So we have been doing other small things that have been needing to come up. That is kind of what we are at to right now. We're still hauling rock or gravel into the county, and that is kind of what we're doing at the road department at this point in time.
Any questions of Harvey while he's sitting here? Yes.
I think there's an $89,000 claim for construction. Is that on the Benedict building up there?
Yes.
And how's that coming along?
That is the concrete for the Benedict building. The
Okay.
footings have been poured. This was the floor and the approach slab.
Okay.
We are now waiting for a building. Ideally, if everything would work well, it may be in June, May. Now, when will it be built? I cannot tell you.
Right.
But that is where it is sitting at this point in time.
Cool, thanks.
Anybody else? Thanks, Harvey.
You bet.
Anybody else? Officials? Okay.
I just want to introduce to you our new office manager.
Could you just give us yours too?
Oh, sorry. I'm
Thank
Janie
you.
Crawford.
I know who you are,
Extension
but we
office.
gotta do it anyway.
Yep. And this is Megan Boyd, Extension office manager. So Megan was hired and started the 1st of May as our new office manager. So I just wanted to introduce her to you. And if you have any questions, I guess, too. I gave Kurt one. I'll let you guys see it too. This is a couple of the fun things that we're doing this summer for 4-H workshops, just in case you were wondering, like, what goes on in the summer for us as far as the 4-H side. So
Okay.
that's about all I have. I don't know if Megan wants to say anything about herself, where she's from.
I live in Henderson. I've been there about 14, 15 years, so pretty involved in the community, so it's good to be a part of York now. So.
And when did you start, Megan? I'm sorry.
May 3rd.
May 3rd, so you've been with us about a month.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's doing great. We're excited to have her, so.
And you'll be back this afternoon? Or,
Sure, yep. Yeah, I'll swing
what
by.
did you say?
I have
Oh.
a chamber exec board meeting, but I'll stop down.
Okay,
That's fine.
all right.
Yep,
All right, thank you.
yep.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak on the public forum?
I don't know about the public.
Well, are we that?
Officials, are we done with all the officials? Because we'll have Board of Equalization now. It's right in there, what you got.
Could I have just 1 minute?
Sure.
I mean, this is kind of unusual for a board member to speak in the open forum, but I'd like to take a moment to remember to think about the victims in Texas in the mass shooting. I don't know how, most of you know that I was a cop for 40 years. And after Columbine, we all took training on active shooters. And the first thing that they taught every one of us was, if you're on patrol and you get a call, you go in. You don't stand by, you don't wait for SWAT, you don't wait for CERT companies or anybody else. You're the only protection that those kids have. And I am so angry at what went on down there. It's hard for me to keep my language straight. And I've 3 deputies sitting in front of me, a sheriff, and 2 deputies sitting in front of me, know me. And when we went through that training, everybody went through that training. And they were trained down there, and there were 19 officers standing outside doing nothing while those kids were inside. That's nothing more than a repeat of Columbine. And I know our deputies have been through it because they've trained the people in this building. So thank you for giving me a moment.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, at this time, we do need to recess as the Board of Commissioners and go to a scheduled 9:30 Board of Equalization meeting. Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Present?
Holgren,
Present.
Salzberger,
Present.
Sykes,
Present.
Overmark.
Present. Open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers, is on the outside on the wall of our chambers, is also on the website. Proof publication was in the News Times the 26th of May and also on our website. Now we need to review and approve the minutes of the May 17th Board of Equalization meeting.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Bill.
Second.
Thank you, Kurt. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Salzberger,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes. And adopt today's agenda.
Move
Motion.
to, go ahead.
Motion to approve the agenda for
Thank you,
today's
Jack.
meeting.
Second?
Thank you, Daniel. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
Salzberger,
Yes.
Overmark.
Yes. Joining us is York County Assessor Ann. You got a list of corrections for us?
I do. And we, of course, have mobile homes that have been sold, and the taxes become due because they become personal property, and the value is accelerated and collected before the sale. 35 and 36 are mobile homes. Now, 37 and 38 is a large house. It's what we call a shouse. It's a machine shed type house with a large attached garage. Very deceiving because there are 3 levels of windows. However, there's only 1 level of house and no basement. So not getting inside the house at the time of assessment, an error was made in the assessment of the house. It does not have a 2nd level, and it does not have a basement. So we had to make corrections for 21 for a refund and for 22 for a change of value. 39 is a personal property tax that was paid in both Polk County and York County. It was assessed in both counties. And so they decided to leave the equipment in Polk County, so York County had to refund it. 2 more mobile homes that have sold in the city of York. they were sold, and so the 22 tax was accelerated and collected. 42 is a lot that was sold in the subdivision of McCool where they have tax increment financing. And so this was a property owned by the McCool Community Development. As of January 1st, it was exempt. However, Nebraska law states that when an exempt property sells from an exempt entity to a non-exempt entity, the value comes on the tax roll from the very first of the year. So therefore, this is the reason for the added value for 22 on this property. That's
Okay,
it.
any questions of Ann this morning? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to accept the tax roll corrections as presented by the York County Assessor.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Schwanzberger,
Yes.
Holgren,
Yes.
and Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, we will adjourn as the Board of Equalization and resume as the Board of County Commissioners. No, we need to. Thank you, Ann.
Yep.
And we're back up. We had no other officials. So now we're going to finally go to public forum. We're only about an hour late. Good morning.
Good morning, again, outweighed an old farmer.
Okay.
Thanks for the opportunity. A couple things I'd like to cover. One of them is, I'm gonna quote some poetry from one of my neighbors that used to live here years ago. Maybe some of you know him. He was a state patrolman, Clifford Snyder. Grew up on Road J, just off of Road 4. He married my neighbor to the west a couple miles. She was probably gone. We went to country school together before McCool consolidated. But anyway, they moved to Arizona a number of years ago, and I want to read his poem. It was in the April 22 edition of the Nebraska Life magazine. McCool Junction Memories, Clifford Snyder, Glendale, Arizona. Clouds of dust plowed furrows, an agricultural serenade of farm equipment humming. Spring planting, so infectious a pandemic of sorts in rural Nebraska. Dust settles, life renewed. The last seed is laid to rest. I would like to also say that there's some good comes from the deal in Ukraine, because there's been quite a bit of talk about food security, and one of the things that comes across is the types of soil that are in Ukraine and Russia and 3 other places in the world. It amounts to roughly 21% of the soils in Nebraska, and they occur in the savannas and mountain valleys such as Central Asia, North America, and Great Plains. These environments have historically been strongly influenced by fire and abundant, I can't pronounce the word, but it's from the organisms such as ants and earthworms. It has estimated in 2003 only 14 to 26% of the system still remains. Globally, they represent less than 7% of the ice-free land in the area in the world. Those areas in Nebraska, they exhibit a number of thicknesses and characteristics in their horizons. The process differentiated on basis of color, texture, clay core, structure, and so forth. Soils are important natural resources in Nebraska. We have an abundance of these soils, high in natural fertility, and they're well suited to intense cultivation. They call it black gold in the May 21st article that I came across. I wanted to emphasize where they were, where those 4 zones are. One is the American Plains, that's where we are, in Nebraska. The eastern part of Nebraska, from here about east, well, maybe you could go to Grand Island and then off to the northeast. These lands emerged as capable of supporting American consumption and even export. The other, number 2 place is cultivation of the great rivers in China. It would be difficult to understand the enormous Chinese population without those areas. Number 3 is an Argentina area, which fed a large portion of humanity during the Second World War when the fields couldn't be normally worked other places. The 4th one is the Russian-Ukraine plains, which are the breadbasket of Russian Empire and later of the Soviet population. Now, we can't, if we put in this solar panel deal, we're gonna destroy that soil. It's not gonna come back just because we take the panels down or to take up the wire. Wires are gonna be buried 3 feet in the ground, the rest are gonna be overhead. We haven't had any real information from the outfit that's doing this, you know, they come from France, and we get news from Delaware, or we get Minneapolis, we get Houston, Texas, and San Diego, but there's only 2 things they've really told us. One thing was when the lawyer was here, he told us what the rules were that the legislature passed in 2015 about the energy tax, what it's going to be. It's a new form of stream of finances for schools, whatever. But there's no provision in there to cut back on property taxes, any portion of that money that you get from the energy taxes. And that lawyer, he knew those laws forward and backwards. And then the other thing is, I don't know where to go on, it's so hard on me. My wife and I visited the Honey Creek Project at Fort Dodge, Iowa. And I can't describe how hard that was for me to see that project. You can go on your own dime, don't go on theirs, and don't go on mine, draw your own conclusions. It's the most barren thing I've ever seen. Only thing comes close to it is if you go from East Chicago to Gary, Indiana, where it used to be the Iron Rust Belt. Hot and stinky and nothing growing, or the main side rig at Camp Pendleton. Right now there's nothing there but the posts and the panels and all the fences and the huge substation. There's not going to be anything. They scrape the ground off first because they can't have any, and their land lays at least as level here, and their drainage areas are a lot less stringent, noticeable. So it's gonna mess up there. They have to have tile to get the water off the line. I'm sorry I'm taking up your time with all your trials and tribulations you have, but this is really important. And the worst part about it is what it's gonna do to our community. Hayes Township is probably at least a third, maybe a half of the school district. Who do you think is going to live there after we get 3,000 acres of solar panels? Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jim. Let the record know that that was Jim Jackson that presented to the Board of Commissioners. Is there anybody else for public forum to speak to something?
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. My apologies for popping in late. I had a personal fire that kind of popped up this morning, but my name is Elizabeth Hine. I'm the Executive Director of CASA for York County.
Okay.
Last month I submitted to you guys our annual report from 2021,
Okay.
as well as our request for this year. This year we are requesting $45,000, which is what you guys had given us last year. Again, we just want to thank you for your continued support, and of course for the office space you give us, and of course your generosity monetarily. Just to give you a little bit of an update on how CASA is doing, we are currently servicing more children than we ever have in our 22 years of existence. We're serving 30 kids where we usually hover around the low 20s. In addition to that, we have more abused and neglected children in York County this year than we ever have before, since CASA's existence in those 22 years. Typically, you'll see it in our annual report if you review it. We usually see an influx of anywhere from mid-30s to low 40s kids throughout the entire span of the year. And at any given point, we maybe have upper 20s to low 30s. 28 to 32 is a pretty standard range for us to be seeing at any one given point in the year. Currently, right now, today, there are 52 abused and neglected children in York County, whose cases we are monitoring. We have hosted 2 trainings in the last 6 months and have sworn in 7 new volunteers, all of whom except for 1 have taken cases, and we're doing our best to keep up with this caseload, but it's really difficult. So again, we appreciate your guys' past support and look forward to working with you in the future.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. We may have you, I'll visit a little bit, we may have you come back and do something in general session, so if there is some questions and stuff like that, so.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else that would like to speak to the public forum that is on something that isn't on the agenda?
Willard Peterson, 514 Road 13. My address is York, but I'm a proud resident of Bradshaw. I either missed it or when I looked at this agenda earlier, it wasn't on. And this has to do with the ARPA funds. I know I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I just wanted you to maybe consider, since the courthouse was open long before a lot of other courthouses and so forth, that possibly the people that worked under this roof maybe would deserve a little bit extra for doing that for you guys because of opening that. That's it.
Yeah, anybody else, like I say, once again, that it is not on the agenda, because we will talk to it when it's on the agenda.
This is on the agenda, but it's a little, it's regarding the ARPA fund.
Right,
deal.
right.
So I can.
You'll be able to speak to it then, yes.
But I'm a little bit like an hour behind schedule, so I got some things to do, so could I speak on it now?
But how about we just finish up this and we'll go right to it then? Will that work with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else? Public? Okay. Seeing none. To help you out a little bit, we will go ahead and, seeing how we've been bouncing around anyway, discuss an act on premium pay disbursements to county employees with ARPA funds. This is something that was on the agenda at the last meeting, was asked to be brought to this one here. And so you had some information that Commissioner Sykes had brought to you. Jack, do you want to speak to anything now?
No, I would like to hear what he has to say.
Okay. Or name and address, please.
Good morning, my name's Orville Stewart. I live at York, or not York, but Waco, Nebraska. It's 1903 Highway 34. And regarding the ARPA funds that York County is gonna receive, my comments regarding that are, I would suggest a more equitable, more distributed disbursement of those funds if it's deemed that that is something that needs to be done. I'm not a fan of just giving money out for not necessarily a valid reason. So these are some of the suggestions that, and I know there's stipulations as far as what those funds can be used for, and I'm not totally aware of that. My understanding is they've come out with like a final type of a, recommendation of what they can be used for, but so with these, if they fall into those recommendations, might benefit a wider taxpayer base than a targeted distribution amongst a relatively small number of taxpayers. One of the things in our area that we have seen is on gravel roads where some of these culverts go into the roads and it's a relatively steep bank. There's a lot of red marker flags that are starting to show up in these areas. And those could be a pretty hazardous type of a deal if that flag gets knocked over and people aren't aware that that's a washout that started into the road. So I don't know, if funds could be allocated for that, if that's something that is deemed to be necessary. There's a lot of smaller towns in this county. If those funds could be distributed amongst those towns, my guess is a lot of these towns would have needs that a smaller town might need to be taken care of, sewage type issues, maybe some of the, roads type issues, maybe even some of the internet access availability in some of these smaller towns. The ability to attend one of these meetings, I know you guys got it on Facebook, where you can do a live deal, but that doesn't necessarily, that still requires me to come in and do stuff. And I know one time there was some discussion on being able to Zoom these kind of things to where people could actually speak without actually being here. But if that's something that would be designated as, if that's could be used, somebody brought up that there's, with the employment situation, trying to find people to work, a lot of these folks can't, if they're single parents and things like that, they can't work because there's daycares not available for these folks to actually take care of their kids. I don't know how that would fit in with the use of ARPA funds, but that's some comments that I've had told me. So anyway, once again, I would summarize this, that these ARPA funds, if need to be distributed, in my opinion, you would want to try to identify areas that could benefit maybe even a lower income taxpayer type situation. I don't know if there's people that were maybe a little bit more negatively affected, that might have, their jobs might have been eliminated for whatever reasons during this pandemic situation, and they're having trouble getting their jobs back, they fell behind on things like that. And the benefit as many as the York County taxpayers in a fiscal responsible manner. Giving money, quote unquote, bonuses might be a noble type thing, but in that situation, if I've got a job, I've still got all the benefits that I've needed, unless there's an identified thing that I went through where I lost my employment for a period of time because of this, then whatever, if you can identify those kind of things. But if I've got a job, I've got benefits, I've got all the 401k, everything's still intact, I'm doing something that I signed up to do, I don't know if that's really an equitable distribution of those kind of funds. So anyway, that's my input on that.
Thanks, Orv.
You guys got any questions for me on that? Some of this stuff is from people that have approached me after I put that letter to the editor in the paper. So there are people out there that are thinking along the same lines, but,
They just don't speak out, right?
well.
You're speaking out, but there's a lot of people that have the same mind that you do that aren't speaking out. Is that what you're trying to say?
These are people around Waco, Nebraska.
Okay, well, you're not alone. For I don't know how many months and how many meetings they had to determine what they were going to do and what we could do with this money once we received it. We've received 50% of $2.6 million. One of the things that did come out of this meeting was that you could pay you can call it a bonus if you wish, to employees that were essentially, this courthouse was one of the very few in this state that stayed open and served the public. I will mention that we had people coming from as far away as Omaha, Grand Island, North Platte, getting their driver's licenses here. True, those driver's license examiners were paid by the state, not by the county. But we were open so that they could do their business here and people could get their driver's license. I think that in itself is really one of the reasons why this come up. But this is one of the things that was approved that we could use the money. Not all of it, but one of the things. And since I'm the one that brought this up, I'm going to read a resolution from Seward County. Now both Seward County and the county to the other side of us, and Hamilton County, both of them have approved this pay, okay? I'm gonna read what they've got, and I've just interjected York County instead of Seward County. Whereas in 2021, the American Rescue Plan Act was approved by both the houses of Congress and signed and into law by President Joe Biden on March 11, 2021. Whereas an act establishing controversial states of local fiscal and recovery funds which were allocated for distribution to state, local, territorial, tribal governments and other addresses impact the COVID-19 emergency. Whereas the Secretary of the Treasury issued interim final rule on May 17, 2021 to implement the provisions of the program. Whereas I inserted York County received the distribution of funds under that act, which I said was $2.6 million, which I believe we received half of it already. Whereas eligible workers, including workers needed to maintain continuity of operations, essential critical infrastructure sections, including any work performed by any employee of the state, local, or tribal government. Whereas York County is a local government of the state of Nebraska. Whereas essential work means work not only performed while telemarketing from a residence involved in regular in-person interactions with patients, public, or co-workers of the individual performing the work, or regularly physically handling of items that were handled by or given to these people by the public, co-workers of individuals performing their work. I think that those whereases kind of outlines why that I thought this was an important thing for our people. Our people here, these people sitting up here have said over and over, I don't know how many times, how important our employees are and how important it is to pay them a fair wage and try and keep employees so they don't leave here and go someplace else. We all have problems, but I'm sure that everybody sitting in this room probably received a $1,400 check, a stimulus check, and I bet you nobody turned it back in, did they? So here's my point. I just want to finish my point first. I wanted to listen to what you had to say. I think these premium pay things are important for our employees to prove to them that we do honor their service. This is the first time that we were able to do this without impacting the tax base, without impacting your property tax, because this comes from the federal government. Yes, it's tax money, and the federal government doesn't have a cent that they don't get from the taxpayers. But when it was decided that they would do this, we didn't decide to give it back. So I'm going to put this forward as a motion at this time that we pay this up to $4,000 per employee that was working here, and there are guidelines. They have been working here in their normal place of business. They have to have been working during this time. There's a couple others that are in this resolution that would be adopted. And I think it's up to this board. I know you have an opinion, and so do a lot of other people. Wilbur over here said that he has an opinion, and he stated it. And I'm sure there's probably other people in this room that has opinions for and against it. But I want to make a motion that we adopt a resolution to pay this premium pay to our employees.
Jack, I'd like to allow, and your motion is so moved, I'd like to allow anybody else that'd like to talk about this first,
Absolutely.
you know, before we take it upon ourselves to talk about it. Or, are you there? You done?
Say it again.
Are you done? Did you?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
basically what I was wanting to.
I appreciate your time and patience with us this morning.
Yeah.
Anybody else? We heard your
Well, okay, could I make? a
brief, yeah. Yep.
I always do brief. What do you want?
Yeah,
Do I have to say my name again?
no.
All right, okay. Anyway, I think one thing to remember is that what this resolution is about is only one real small piece of or a piece. I said small, it depends on your point of view. It's a piece of it is all, and it's not, it's not using up all the money by any shape or form. But again, I want to reiterate what I meant for sure about this, that the people that worked under this building when this building was open, when it literally wasn't the only place, but literally almost the only place open like it, I think those people would deserve a little bit extra even beyond that. So that was my point. And I have faith that you guys heard every word that he said about other kinds of things, but I just want to make clear that I do not believe you guys are only thinking of employees, you're also thinking of other projects, other things, so, anyway.
Thanks, Fuller.
Thank you.
Yep.
One other thing I'll bring up, and one of the other things that he just mentioned is broadband. That was one of the other items that they listed as being a use for this ARPA fund. So it's not just this. This won't even come to probably a third of that money. But, yeah, there are other things that we can use some of that money for. It's not all going to the employees.
Okay, anybody else?
My 2 bits on it, I think it would be a great morale booster for the whole county employee system. The county employees are the backbone of this county. They kept the courthouse running, they kept the roads going, they kept the law enforcement in. You take any one of those pieces out and you guys had huge problems. I also know there's a website that you can go out and look at what all the businesses got around the county. Corn farmers got so much, business owners got so much. This is the county employees' business, is taking care of the business of the county. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Harv. Anybody else this morning? Okay, guys, we do have a motion,
Second.
and we have a second. Is there any discussion regarding this? I've been on record to say that not only when we talked about the wages, because it doesn't involve everybody, that's one piece of why I don't care for this. I know that Seward County passed it. I don't know what the vote was. I know that Hamilton County passed it. That vote was a 3-2, so it wasn't a
So is Seward.
it wasn't a unanimous decision. So there's obvious, even among the commissioners, different thoughts. I will be the first to tell you that I think our employees are great. I've fought for our employees to get better wages, better benefits in the 8 years that I've sat here. And just because that I don't support this it shouldn't be held that I don't support our employees. That wouldn't be a true statement. I just think that when we start compiling this list, which, I asked that we start looking at, when we start compiling this list of things that we can do with this money, which it's pretty much the door's open on it now. There's just a few things we can't do anymore. That when you start looking at a building that needs as much repair as we got, when you look at a road system that needs as much as repair as we got, it isn't going to be hard to spend the $2.6 million. It just plain and simple isn't. And so I'm just not going to be before it. And basically, back to the point where it's not for everybody, I know that, for instance, in the clerk's office, one person will get it because they
They
weren't
weren't working
employed
at that time.
at that time. They were working undoubtedly,
But not.
just not for us.
Right.
And I'm sure that it's gonna be the same way at the roads department and other ones like that too. And then the elected officials, I mean, our elected officials were here and doing what they had to do. And they, by state statute, cannot receive it. So, that's gonna be my stance on it. You know, I just know that we're gonna have a lot of things that we can do with this money, that will handle it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a comment as to what Willard said, that this would just be a small portion of it. Even if, now, I don't know where we're sitting, 107 employees. I don't know what the number is for the essential, but if we did go, like Jack suggested, even $4,000 at 70, figure that out. That's a very small percentage of the 2.6 million that we will get. I remember sitting here the last 6 weeks or 2 months trying to get $1.50 increase for the roads employees so that we could attract some people to apply for the job. At this point, we've hired, I think, talked to Harvey this morning, we've hired 1 or 2, we hired 1 back, 1 that left, and finally decided he wanted to come back, and that will probably happen. Excuse me. I think that we need to give these people something. It's a one-time thing. I'm with Jack. I think all our employees are important, but I just feel this is the time that we can really show our appreciation to our employees.
Thank you, Bill.
Good.
And
Security's gone.
we're
Yeah.
locked down now, yeah. We're up to us now.
Yeah.
Anything else before I call the roll call? Okay, roll call.
Sykes,
Yes.
Mossberger,
Yes.
Gross,
No.
Holgren,
No,
Overmeyer.
No. Motion fails. Okay. Figure out where we're at now. Done with that one. We will have an executive session, but that's later on with aging service. There is no general assistance. Review and approve payroll and vendor claims. I know, Kurt, you had the one question, but I believe you got it answered. Was there any other questions that anybody had?
are some of our funds short? Or are they good? There seem to be juvenile diversion looked, state institutions, community development block grant. Looked like they were gonna have negative balances.
I haven't heard back from the juvenile for that.
Juvenile should have had some money come in at the end of the month, typically they do.
Oh, and yes, that one down here, this one here,
2605.
yeah. That money was transferred from that grant
Okay.
from Send into
So
that
that-
account.
that's covered.
It's just, it wasn't posted in there.
Gotcha, okay.
And I believe if we looked at the fee report, in the treasurer's fee report, that it showed the funds were good,
Okay.
you know, so,
Are there any additional claims?
no.
If not, I would make a motion to approve the payroll and vendor claims as presented.
Thank you, Kurt.
Second?
Thank you, Daniel. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Holgren,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Mossberger,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes, okay, and we're, no funding transfers. Okay, we signed the problem-solving coordinator local, so at this time then, we will meet with Carrie Rodriguez, Chief Probation Officer, District 5 Probation, with updates and budget requests. Carrie, I'd call you back up front. Good morning again.
Good morning. First, I just want to say thank you for your support of the problem-solving court with the interlocal agreement. How will I get a copy of it? Because when you sign it, I need to take it to Stuart and to my administration as well.
Okay. Are you around today? Are you taking off?
Actually, I have today off.
Oh,
So
nice you could join us.
I plan to leave after the county board for the rest of the day.
You'll sign it, then I'll have it, so you can come in at any time, or do
I'll
you
send
need-
Morgan over for it.
Okay.
Thank you. I know that you guys are running a little behind, so I'll try to get through this quickly and still thoroughly and answer any questions that you guys have. Just the general information for 2021, this is January through December 2021 information. So we served 3,149 clients last year in our district. This page is just a summary of who works here in York County, and the numbers. So juvenile, adult, total. You can see since I started visiting you in 2017, when I took over as chief, we have the highest number of clients on probation that we've ever had here in York County. I'm assuming that goes hand in hand with the number of felony filings that we've seen over here the last couple of years. So we did bring a new adult probation officer over here in addition to the staff that we previously had, in order to make sure that those individuals are properly supervised. So last year we had 45 youth, 461 adults, for 506 total clients that were served on probation. That is up from 318 the year before. 2020 did dip everywhere in this district because of COVID. So the next several pages just give you your demographics. These are specific to York County, both adult and juvenile, so you can flip through those. Ages, race, ethnicity, and gender. The next two pages after that is the brochure for our reporting center. I've talked about the reporting center before. It is in Columbus. However, we do pay providers to come to York and run these classes as well. However, we've had a problem finding providers in York, so if you know anybody that wants to sign a contract for some services to run some classes till 8 o'clock at night, we have some classes that we could pay somebody to run. We had a provider and they chose not to fulfill their contract, so we're looking again. The reporting center classes cost the state $162,662.07 for the year 2021. Thank you. Your clients can participate in those virtually until we find a provider over here again for them to be able to come in person with a provider, but right now it's online. The University of Nebraska at Lincoln, on this next page, UNL, did a study about our reporting center classes. What the study found is that if individuals participate in those classes, they're more likely to be successful, less likely to recidivate in the future. I always like to give you guys a summary of the services provided. The next page is the adult services provided in 2021. And it outlines the different types of things we offer. So anywhere from mental health treatment, co-occurring evaluations, CAM monitors, substance use disorder information, transitional living. The state paid $114,534 for services for adult clients here in York County last year for those different services. The next page is juvenile services in York County, and again, there's an array of services that you can read about that were facilitated with the youth here, and $512,867 is the amount the state spent on the youth services. This next page just gives you a quick glance at some information regarding the problem-solving courts. So your problem-solving court, Judge Decker runs, and it encompasses both York and Seward counties. This is for individuals facing felony charges that have a long history of substance use and are at high risk to reoffend. As Judge Decker said earlier, based on the research, the problem-solving courts are the most effective form of intervention for these individuals. This page gives you information
you mind if I ask a question?
Sure.
How many do we have in the problem-solving court right now? Did I miss that somewhere, or?
I don't know
Oh, that's
for
fine.
York Stewart off the top of my head today. I think last time,
You're not
last
working
month,
today, so
we
that's
knew.
fine.
Working this morning, obviously. Last month I told you what the number was. I don't remember off the top of my head what
Okay,
it
that's
was
fine.
because of all the, we have 7 counties of problem-solving court.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
It was in the teens, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
it's somewhere, I believe it stays somewhere in the teens to low 20s in this problem-solving court on average.
Okay, cool, thank you.
You're welcome. This page gives you information about the problem-solving court. The graduation rate for Judge Decker's court is 68%. So not everybody that comes into the program graduates because not everybody is willing to go through and complete the residential treatment that's required or stay clean while they're in the program, those sorts of things. If they don't complete the program, they are resentenced on that felony that they pled guilty to come into the program. This second chart tells you the recidivism rate for those that have graduated. So individuals that do graduate the program, there is an 87% non-recidivism rate out of this problem-solving court. 13% have been rearrested, and as we discussed last month, usually it's for a lesser crime. It's very rare. I'm not sure we've even seen another felony on those rearrests from this problem-solving court. This next page outlines the costs for services for those individuals in the problem-solving court in York last year, $35,275. As you know, I tell you every year, we are available 24/7 for your law enforcement. We have to be for juvenile intakes. So if a juvenile has a new law violation and it's not safe to keep them in the community, if they are an out-of-state runaway or if they have a warrant, law enforcement calls us out. We go determine what should happen with that youth and find a place to safely put that youth. Last year, we were called 11 times in York County. That's the same number as 2020, which is interesting. Everywhere else it went up. I've also explained drug testing before. Individuals on probation and in the problem-solving court program call in every day, and they are randomly called in for testing when they call us, so they never know what day it's going to be. We collected 4,419 drug tests last year in York County on those clients that we're supervising. This next page is your recidivism rate for adults that have been placed on probation in York County if they successfully complete probation and do not reoffend within the next 3 years. That's the statutory definition for recidivism. And your county has a 76% success rate, 24% of clients recidivated. The juvenile statutory definition is a little bit different in that it's 1 year instead of 3 years for the time frame in which they can get a new law violation. And your juvenile recidivism rate is 14% with an 86% success rate. This page just gives you cost information. It is a little outdated. Sorry, I think both my phones are ringing. So it just shows you the difference between probation costs, jail costs, and prison costs. And as I said, they're all a few years old on those costs, so they're probably all a little bit higher than what that page states. This is just meant to show you a little bit about what it might cost to run probation if York County was to pay for all of the resources. These salary and benefits, training, state-issued vehicle mileage, and mileage reimbursements, we just take in the state-issued cell phones, we take just your percentage of the budget and give an estimate of your percentage of the budget on about how much that costs. And then the probation, adult services, juvenile services, problem-solving court services, and drug testing services are actual costs. This page then is what I mailed you, and it's the budget outline for this fiscal year. And I sent you a letter with the fiscal year request as well. The overall budget stayed the same as the last couple of years, so we did not raise that. But according to the statute, the percentage of your budget is figured out, calculated by your census population and the number of individuals that have pre-sentence investigations or were served by supervision under probation. And so your guys' amount went up by $2,860.49 this year with a budget request of $32,970.89. And like I said, it's just related to the census population and the number of clients that we served over the past year. I would anticipate in the future your number would probably go down with the number of clients served in York, just because of all of the dynamic factors that play into your numbers, and you've risen the last couple of years. So I would expect at some point you guys would start going back down. Do you have any questions I can answer for you?
Anybody have any for Carrie this morning? Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. You did say that the clients that get into problem-solving court or whatever, they have to plead guilty to their charges before they can go in there, correct?
Yes.
And if they don't finish that, do they then serve the sentence that they would have gotten?
If they fail to complete problem-solving court, yes, they come back in front of, not Judge Stecker, he recuses himself because of the problem-solving court relationship that's developed. So he will come back in front of a different judge, that individual, and then they will be sentenced on that original felony charge. Yes.
So while they are in the problem-solving court, is the county still responsible for paying for their attorney? Because they've pled guilty to a crime. Then they become state wards, do they not? If they've pled guilty to a crime?
The adults, no. Normally what happens is we have a defense counsel that sits on the problem-solving court team. They're present every week with us at problem-solving court. So there's not court hearings ongoing that you should be paying for an attorney for while they're in the problem-solving court program. If for some reason, they fail the program and they are facing coming back before the court for that felony, then they'll need an attorney for that process. And normally whoever their attorney was that helped them plead into the problem-solving court is the attorney that helps with that process. Does that make sense?
Kinda. Either way, we end up paying it. I have a copy of our contract from, let's see, I think it was 2019, term of from 2018 to June of 2019, which was signed by me. At that time, I was chairman. And then we have another one here. And some of the things that I kind of wonder about is how do these people get picked to go on this court? I know there's a panel that picks the people that goes on that court. And I know you know where I'm going with this. Because one person was trying to get on that, and they ended up killing a dog, a civilian, and somebody else. And I'm just wondering if this court is supposed to be for non-violent cases.
I think that my administration spoke to this a little bit last month when they were here. The individuals in the program can be referred by anybody, your law enforcement, your defense counsel, your treatment providers, your county attorney. We do a screening that comes from the national best practice standards. We look to see if these individuals might be somebody that would be appropriate for the program or not, and then we make a determination as to whether we think that they could be appropriately served or not. But the county attorney's office does have the final say.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Carrie? And we do have the budget request, that's in our packet, and we will be dealing with that as we go forward with the budget. You have your signed copy,
Yes.
and then
thank
once
you.
Seward,
Once Seward signs it.
Then you'll
I
get
will
us the
it back.
finish.
I visited Seward last week, but their attorney hadn't reviewed it yet, so I will go back to Seward to get their signs, send it to my boss to get it signed and bring it back to you.
thank you.
Okay,
Have a great day.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, now we need to discuss an act on transfers, and these are transfers that when we do the budget process, they are laid out for us. And so we have a $25,000 transfer that goes from the general into a reappraisal fund. We have a $2,000 transfer from the general to the Veteran AIDS Fund. We have the Employment Security Act of $5,443 into the general, so that's Fund 1200 into the general. We have county relief and medical, Fund 1500, that's $10,451 into, I'm sorry, that's transferred out from general into the county medical relief. I was reading that backward. And it's transferred out of general into the Employment Security Act. State institutions gets $15,585 from the general, and general fund transfers to the Emergency Management Fund, $25,255. And then Child Support County Attorney Fund, which is $985, transfers $3,500 into the general. And that's the majority of them. We have a couple of them yet to do. A couple of them deal with Leela's funds, the 2913, and then we've got to clear up another fund of getting money.
The drug court fund.
Right, but don't we have to clear up the other one
Oh,
too
yeah.
yet of getting the money that we originally had in the building fund? And then we had purchased something out of it, so we'll get that. I wanted to, those two, we'll do those the 14th. Like I say, we'll finish them up the 14th. So these here, we have a resolution to do this. I would entertain a motion.
Clarification,
Okay.
the last number you read, you said 3,500, our
30.
agenda says 34.
34, I'm sorry,
Okay, just wanted to
3,400.
make sure.
From 985, 3,400 to
Okay.
general.
All right, I would make a motion to adopt said resolution.
Thank you.
I'll second that. But I do have one other clarification.
Okay.
Did you, I may have just missed it, on the sheet here, there's one, for general fund to, drug court fund for $1,000. Did you,
Oh, did I?
or did that get taken off?
That's
or-
off. That's not
off,
on this,
okay.
right, because we were gonna
Yeah.
check into that, and see if we had done
Sorry, I
that.
must have got you the wrong one.
That's all right, just so we clarify which ones we're
Yeah.
doing. Okay, very good.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Holgren,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Schonitzberger,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
and Oldham.
Yes. Okay, next we need to discuss an act on drawing on number 2 for the owner occupied rehab housing project. Do you have a copy of that in there?
These are things that had already been okayed by the housing committee that you guys appointed.
Mhm.
So these are the 3 things, oh no, 3 or 4 things.
There's a list of them.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and its total is at $30,004.56. That's what the fund looked like. It was off, but that funds to the deputy treasurer. We visited with Megan last week, and those funds are in and ready to be dispersed. So we need a motion to approve moving those funds forward.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Bill.
Second?
Thank you, Daniel. Any other discussion?
These are the ones we also approve.
Right.
These have come before us and we've also approved these,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Okay. Any other?
How many people does that help?
We don't get the names of the people that.
But it's
I don't-
so many contracts,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, So we don't get to know that information.
It's like 6 or 7 families or whatever.
Well, these are different billings that came from the projects that we approved.
Yeah.
So, because I think one of them is lead testing, and then it does have project 1, 2, and 3, and on there. So these are just billings from those projects that we've, like
Yeah,
Daniel
they have
stated,
to
we've
pay-
already approved.
Yeah, we have to pay those contractors now.
Roll call.
Osberger,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Ogren,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmar.
Yes. Okay, the next item is, I think most of you know about, I put it on there to discuss only, to see where we wanted to go. This was a project that was on our 1 and 6 year program, and it was actually on the 1, and this is 4th Street from Main to N. This was found by way of the fact that when we had a landowner that cleaned some ditches last year without talking to the county first, contacted him, then we found out that what he actually cleaned was his own property because the road isn't where it should belong. And it's not a mile section road, it'd be quarter section, would you call it, or what would you call it,
There's
Marty?
roughly a quarter that is not supposed to be a road. And then the other strong half would be dedicated road.
And so then Harvey, you did have this in our 1 and 6, and I did ask Harvey just a little bit, the last meeting, maybe to try, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to
I did.
review any
What-
costs to it.
What we had in there on the 1 year plan was 45,000, which I had kept bumping up from, this has been on 1 and 6 for several years. I put it on the 1 year plan, I put it at 45,000. Looking at fuel, looking at time, looking at other projects, that was about the same scope as this. It's really gonna come closer to about 145,000 by the time you get the dirt done the way it should be, the culverts installed that need to be reinstalled, get the rock on it, get everything done this way, it's gonna come closer to $145,000. Estimated off of what other projects of the same size has come about.
And that would get the road put in the right area it needs to
That
be.
would be in the right area on the half-section line where it is not. It's all land south of the half-section line because that is what's deeded according to the county surveyor.
And most of the dirt work that would need to take place is on property that is owned by the city. That's most of the dirt
Most
work.
of
There's
it.
gonna be dirt work on other landowners, obviously,
Right.
but,
Yes, but most of it is on the city side, and then there is a small portion on the west side of a private landowner that has never been deeded for the county to have a road on it.
so, once again, it's by folklore, it was a path at one time, and then for some reason that path was, well, the road led to an acreage, which currently is still an acreage out there, but then after that, it was just apparently gravelled, and there was nothing done about it. And now that we found out about it, we need to act one way or another. I guess one way would be get it where it belongs and make it a usable road, and the other would be vacate.
The other would be to just close the road at the end of the deeded area. That's why the road is laying so far to the south if you drive that road. It lays right up against the trees. It's on the south side of the half-section line. The south side is all deeded for a road. When you hit basically a quarter mile from N, it goes into private property. Close the road, put a dead end at Main Street, put do your official barricades of end of road there. We already have a rock road that far, a rock and gravel road. We can then just have to maintain that off of Main Street going east. Would be a lot less than $145,000.
And we need to, obviously, the acreage out there, we need to give them access, and we would get that road in the right, we would still regardless want to get the west half in the right area, or do something to make it right.
The west half is already in the right area. It's on the deeded, it's just not on the half-section line.
So it is platted,
Yes, according to what Rex told us out there. That is all deeded on the south side of the half-section line. That is where that road is laying. When you hit the quarter mile from road end, that is when you don't have anything deeded for a road.
Where it kind of starts to curve.
No, at the end of the trees on the south side.
so,
So from the trees east, it's not deeded. From the
Right.
trees west, it
It is
is.
deeded on the south of the half-section line.
Okay, deeded to,
To public use, for
Public use,
the
okay.
roads, for the road to be there.
and then if, say we were to vacate that road, I'm gonna ask, Mr.
no, go ahead.
If we were to vacate that road, that landowner would have access to their property. The landowner to the east of the acreage would have access to the property
He
via a different route, correct?
Road
He
end.
has
Road end.
access off of road end.
Right.
He has a building over there, there is his access. If he would want more, he would have to request more.
And currently, the city has a well out there, and they would have to construct a road off of road end to get to their well
Yes.
that currently is serviced by the 4th Street for them.
Which, it's not that far, it wouldn't take much to do that.
No, and it doesn't have to be a super highway to get to that well either.
So,
So that's why I wanted to put it on the agenda to see, obviously, if we're gonna do something, we need to do it and do it right. And if we're not, then I guess we're not, and we move on.
What's our
But
projected cost?
he had he was estimating $145,000.
Earlier, it was a lot less than that.
Right, earlier I had it at $45,000. But that was to leave basically the road where it was, put a little rock on the east quarter mile.
And this would be getting it where it belongs.
Right, all the way through.
I think we should have an action item on our next agenda, just so we can nip this in the bud.
Okay.
I think everybody needs to physically go out and take a look
A
at it.
great idea. I don't know if the flags are still there yet or not, but Harvey could take you there, and I know I can because we.
I've been there.
You drove out there too? Okay. Thank you.
Last time, I think it was last week that I went across there, the flag in the bottom was still there. I think the flags in the alfalfa was still there. But the alfalfa will be being cut soon, so we might lose some of those up there toward the east end.
Okay. Okay, Daniel?
Couple quick, just for clarification, so if we were to, continue, if we were to make it a platted road,
Yes,
you're proposing, from the acreage to the, east would be where we would have to do dirt work and move the road?
basically all the way through,
Okay,
because that road is sitting on the south of the half-section line. To do it right, it should be laying right down the half-section line.
right. So,
That box culvert in the bottom is sitting almost exactly where it was supposed to be.
and then, so from the trees to the west, going back toward, like from the acreage going back towards Maine,
Yes,
you said that was deeded,
yes, that's why.
but
the
it's
road
not
is
deeded
there.
in the right place.
No, it's just deeded on the south half of that half-section line.
So what would if we were to move that road? So, yeah, so if we're going in and thinking about making that road correct and moving it to the half-section line, where would we have to go back to landowners and get deeds in certain places?
Yes,
And if we decide to vacate from the acreage east, then we would just leave the other section where it's at.
Yes.
We wouldn't want to get that where it belongs. We'd just want to leave it.
It would be way cheaper to leave it exactly where it is and keep your base rather than disturb it and have to rebuild the whole base back
I
in.
got that part, but would the landowner that's on the south is bearing the brunt of the whole road then?
Yes.
Versus.
But they've already
They
deeded
deeded
that
half of it.
They've deeded, did
33
he say
feet.
30 feet?
30 feet at the city and then 33 for the county.
They did do the 30.
Yeah, so where the road's sitting is actually, it's taking it all off the south owner and none off the north owner. So I would think there would still gonna have to be something done regardless to get it right.
Yes, but you are then still going back to get right of way from the west end part of the city to get it that far. If we're gonna go that far, we just will go the rest of the way, because you're gonna be moving the dirt anyhow.
Go ahead.
I assume the city leases that property out for, they have.
Agriculture?
Agricultural reasons. Would their tenants have, say if we were to vacate that road, would their tenants have, access to that property then?
We would probably have to put another driveway in off of Rodan.
Road or on that little jog before you get to the tree line on East Fourth, is there access for them in that
There
road?
is access there, but then you have to go, because there is a trail running to the north, right down in the bottom. However, the drainage off the ball fields comes over in there. I believe there is a dam there with a culvert to let it out at a slower pace.
Okay.
And there would be a issue. You could
Okay.
still come up the hill and go in just on top of the hill there and make an access there. I think it would probably be better to have one on the east side coming off of Road N than there.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions regarding this? We'll go ahead and get it on the agenda. I may ask Rex to join us next time too.
That would be
and
awesome.
That way we have him here,
And
because
then-
he's done it, I think he told us he did it 3 different times. He's
3 times so far, yes. And if any of you guys want to go out there, I can explain what my thoughts are for doing a road out there and why it would cost this much. So give me a holler.
Thanks, Harv.
You bet.
Okay, Lori was at a foot clinic this morning. She is en route back here now to go ahead and take care of her executive session, so we can do committee reports, unless I've missed something. I don't think I did miss any of them. Anybody want to start? Bill, Jack, committee reports?
I can start, I'd be willing to start, but I want to pass on a little information. This is an attorney, the state attorney general's opinion. We seem to have some problems as far as doing maintenance on our county roads that join state highways. And this was presented by Senator Julie Slama some time ago. Subject is responsibility for maintenance of the part of the county road located on state highway right-of-way. And we've got several of them. We've got a couple we're gonna have to be dealing with again. Even like out here at Fallers, where that joins up to 34. We've got the road over here on the 4th Street, Richard Road. I'm not gonna go through this whole thing, but if you go to the last page, I'd like to just read that conclusion. It says, Nebraska statutes do not expressly state who is responsible for the maintenance of the part of the county road located on state highway property because jurisdictional responsibility is not based on who owns the land under the highway or road. For the reasons stated above, we conclude that the state is responsible for maintenance of the major arterial rural highways regardless of which entity owns the property rights on which those highways are located. The county is responsible for the maintenance and other duties of all of a county road, even the portion located on state highway property, regardless of which entity owns the underlying property rights. This conclusion is consistent with the legislature's intent to create an integrated system of public roads. I think what was told this morning, that the state had done some of this maintenance, or this adjoins, or county roads adjoin, and they were threatened to be fired, the way I understand. You were there too, Daniel. So it actually falls back on us to take care of the state's right-of-way where our roads join a state highway. I think we need to talk to our legislatures and get this law, it's very vague. I think they need to put some teeth into this, and as far as I'm concerned, we should not be paying money to pay for that portion that's on the state highway right away. But we are. They said, just pay for it. I don't think that's right. And I think, study this thing, look at it, and we can bring it back or talk about it at a later date. But I think we really need to put some teeth in it and talk to our senators. That's all I have. I had nothing else, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Jack, you got anything? Daniel?
So the YCDC board, full board met this last week, and so had good discussion there. Couple of their biggest concerns are housing in York County and child care availability, and so there's some continued discussion on that. Tech committee met, discussed some servicing of technology within the courthouse and the rest of York County, as well as brainstorming some ideas on moving forward with a website redesign. And yeah, that's about what I have to share with you today.
Okay.
We did have a preliminary budget hearing, or budget meeting that I was a part of.
Kurt?
Excuse me. Gresham celebrated their fireman's picnic this weekend. Wasn't able to make it, but it looked like on social media everyone was having a great time up there, celebrating their town up there. Did some cemetery tours. Roads are in pretty good shape. I wanted to commend Harvey, probably out in the county, the higher traveled roads this time of year because of people getting out to decorate cemeteries. Those seem to be pretty well maintained and have plenty of gravel in the event of any kind of rainstorm. So other than that, it's really kind of been quiet. I'm going to go to a workshop the next couple days in Kearney tomorrow about the Vanguard system that the county assessor's office uses. Other than that, I think maybe you guys got notice that the NACO website's been redesigned. It's worth looking at. I don't like change as much about anybody else, but you get used to it. So trying to relocate things on there. I think that's all I have to report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Kurt. Touch on a little bit with NACO, June 7th to 9th, I think is the NACO workshop out in Kearney. So if anybody's interested, I believe today is the last day, I think, of registration. I think it was May 31st.
I think you can pay at the door also if you choose
If
to
you
go.
choose to go, but that's
Pre-registration, I think,
Yeah.
today.
yeah, so just a reminder on that. I did have visitors last week. It was a week off because of Bob being at a swamp deal, and we had Waco, you mentioned Gresham. Waco Days are coming up this month, as the other small communities in our county will, typically have their summertime festivals. So visitors, we dealt with that one. We ended up finding somebody to mow for us up at Aging. I'd forgot totally about it, but there is somebody that should start. It was taken care of this last week, and then we'll get some spraying done up there too. Cal did come up, and I'll have these on the next meeting. We had paid for an evaluation of our HVAC, or heating and air conditioning system, by Engineer Controls. We had paid for that in the March area timeframe, and we do have 2 bids on what they feel like is legitimate solutions to try to get our air conditioner system seems to work fine here. Our heating system seems to lack, and so that should be coming up. We will have, Daniel mentioned the meeting we had with just the budget committee, and we will have this afternoon at 1:30, we will have the department heads come in, and we'll visit with them a little bit about the upcoming budget that will be getting kicked off. We've got a little bit of, I think finally downstairs in the room that was the old break room. I believe Cal's finally got some tile ordered for that one. We've been dragging our feet on that, so we're gonna get that done. He's got that taken care of. And then we will also see Leela back in front of us. She's been working to try to get our old commissioner room, spruced up. She just had, I think it was APCO, was a 2-day conference there. And I'd seen she had posted pictures online, and it looked like there was a full house down there. So it is utilized by some training and stuff like that, so it'd be nice to get that one fixed up when we do have people from across the state coming in here. Other than that, I'm guessing that I'm forgetting something, but I don't have anything else written down. Do you have anything to deal with? We do have to, we talked about the ARPA money today. It isn't just like they send it to us. We have to ask for it. I forgot we'd had to do that last year too, so we have to do that. And Kelly and myself, I know Brenda was involved last year. She's been out of the office for a little while, so we'll get that figured out over the next week and figure out how to ask for it. Okay. Anybody else have anything else on the committee?
To speak to what Bill brought up about the approaches, it jogged my memory a little bit. The legislature passed a bill this year, LB 750, that dealt with that. Let's read from the committee statement. Where did it go now? LB 913 was incorporated into the 750. It amends section 1320 to provide that construction, reconstruction, relocation, improvement, and maintenance of highway approaches are deemed to be a state highway purpose. Section 1337 is amended to provide that the construction and maintenance of a highway approach damaged due to an extreme weather event or faulty engineering shall be the responsibility of the Department of Transportation. Any construction or repair of a highway approach shall be subject to the department's sufficiency rating system. Extreme weather event is defined as a weather event that generates extraordinary costs caused by such an event. LB 913 was amended by the committee to define the term faulty engineering and to provide authority to the Department of Transportation that in the event of faulty engineering of a highway approach on the part of another entity, the department may seek reimbursement from the responsible party. So there's some change to that. Sounds like if it's not weather related, they're not going to foot the bill for it. So, but anyways, you brought it up and it jogged my memory. I thought the legislature had done something there. We discussed it.
It'd just be nice if they could, make it plain. Whose responsibility it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what you read was the Attorney General's opinion,
That's
too.
right, that's right. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Is that it? We do have one last executive session to go into with Lori from Aging Services. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session at 10:52.
So move, Mr. Chairman, to protect the needless injury to an individual and to include in that exec session, Lori Byers.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Holgren.
Yes.
Salzberger.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Brooks.
Yes.
And Omenauer.
Yes.